Sorry, this is my second time recording because I got a phone call in the middle of it. So we're on Rogue. This is the last one I'm going to do because I'm going to watch the last two in cinema. As for how I'm going to take on it, I don't know. Maybe I'll make a video after I come home. Well, not. It won't be immediately after I come home because I'll be home at like 2 o'clock in the morning. But just it's either going to be that or I'll do just a sort of side rant in another video. Same way that I did like my take on season 4 of The Boys in my Sasquatch Sunset review. But anyway, as for this episode, it's written by Kate Herron, who was the director for the first season of Loki. And I can just imagine, doing half of what is considered to be the best thing that Marvel has put out post Endgame. Someone consider the only good thing they've put out since Endgame. And just leaving that halfway through. Now, maybe she didn't know that season 2 would be the end. But just, she left it to do this. I'm really not excited for this one. There's a guy I follow that gave it a 10 out of 10. But he either agrees with the politics or he just has a better ability to ignore it than I do. But I know that the Doctor kisses a man in this, and I feel like they're going off of what happened in season 13 and also during David's second era, where up till Jodie came in, the Doctor was straight. Didn't really. I mean, yeah, he kissed Rory once, but that was just. I would say that was the Doctor being friendly and not the Doctor being gay, Just the Doctor being the Doctor. But then Jodie came in, and it did kind of bring up the question, like, so is she suddenly into men now, or is she gay, or what? And they did kind of like have a will they won't they thing with Yaz that just the writing on it absolutely sucked because they introduced it at the very end of the show and they did nothing with it. And then when it came to David, like they had a scene in his second episode where they meet Isaac Newton, and later on he's like, he was hot. Is this what I am now? And then obviously Shitty being gay in real life, I imagine he wouldn't want to play a gay person in Doctor Who. So, I mean, there could be a context to it that maybe, like, it seems to be that this creature will probably initiate it. Like, maybe he's kissing the creature, and that's how the creature tries to, like, take over the Doctor's body. I know he didn't do that to the other guy, but it's just, maybe that's just the way he decides to do it to the Doctor. I don't know until I watch it. I feel like that her rejecting the creature like that is quite realistic because because of things like Bridgerton, which they had that in the trailer, and they had that in the next time and all that, where she's like, "Oh, this is so Bridgerton," and then she realizes that Netflix sort of, well, not Netflix, but just it's TV. They exaggerate it and they get rid of most, if not all, the bad stuff. Like they promote this lifestyle is all just parties and romance and shit like that, when really it isn't. There are problems that existed back then. There were wars. There were, lack of women's rights, lack of black rights, all that. It's not. I'm not saying that Bridgerton shouldn't exist or something like that, but it's just, it does highlight the fact that a lot of young women will watch Bridgerton and feel like, yeah, I want to live there because it's just absolutely perfect. Actually, kind of reminds me that Taylor Swift had that song where she was like, "Oh, I want to go back to the old west, but like without the racism," as if racism was the only problem back then. in this scene they decided to do bad guy as the score, but haven't, you know, fit the time period. Listen. Yeah, he's got someone that's like relevant in 2024, but it's just, could you at least get someone good? I know it seems like I'm shifting the goalpost a bit, but it's just sigh. I've cleaned my iPad for the most part. There were fingerprints all over it, and I cleaned it. There still is dust that I need to clean, but it's much better now. When I was watching Acolyte, like my brightness was all the way up, but I just couldn't really see that much, and I think it's because it was dirty. But getting to the point, Ruby is right. This is so Bridgerton with the diversity here. This isn't historically accurate. I like the fact that the Doctor's getting pissed off at or not pissed off, it just doesn't like the fact that Rogue is calling him Doc. Because in Jodie's era, and I don't remember the guy's name, Bradley Walsh's character, Graham thing, he called the Doctor Doc, and she didn't really seem to have a problem with it, from what I remember. When in the original show during Hartnell's era, Stephen Taylor would have called the Doctor Doc, and be like, no. So I'm glad that they're fixing that. Also, the fact that you have this episode named Rogue about like shapeshifters, and then this guy here, he's like, my name is Rogue. Calling a character Rogue is exactly the same as when you had that Mr. Nobody guy from John Wick 4. Like, it just, shut up. Something I got mentioned in the last video, the Doctor would never have been impressed by someone being a bounty hunter before. Why now? Because he's cute. They're still actually calling it the Sonic Screwdriver, even though it's more like a TV remote. Ah yes, I forgot that the British invented war, like famine, poverty, slavery. All the bad things, it was Britain. They invented it. Like, if you're a slave or anything like that, you want someone to blame, it's Britain. Ignore the fact that they had literally nothing to do with it at all. It was Britain. That line where he's like, how long do these people live? And he's like, 600 years. Like, good. Long time to suffer. That was a really good line and really good performance from Shigegawa. Like, Jesus Christ. Now we have a classical version of Poker Face. Like, Russell, you could choose music that isn't like pop music from like the early 2000s, could you? It's just, it seems like it's mostly the same with your music selection. It's just stuff that you really like as someone that likes to go clubbing and as a gay man and all that. Just all very stereotypical. I mean, the music choice in your previous era when these songs were released was, from what I remember, almost non-existent other than the original score, and it was better that way. Like, why do you keep on dishing out money to get all these licensed songs thinking that, yeah, this is going to improve the show? It isn't. Maybe I misheard something that said towards the start of the episode where they were talking about, like, there was a malfunction in, like a comm. It's a bit confusing. She had a comm in of sorts, and it malfunctioned, and maybe he explained that that's the reason Ruby was able to dance. Like, it just stuck that in her ear, turned it on, and it just gave her the ability. But if the reason why I didn't hear that is because it didn't say that at the start of the episode, what's going on where she, like, fucking activates the comm and all of a sudden is able to defend herself like that? I thought it was going to be that, you know, they show that and then the Doctor's like, yeah, you're lying, Ruby does not have the ability to do all that. But no, they didn't do that. No, it really is Ruby. I don't get it. The timing on this kiss is really inappropriate. So, Doctor made a mistake. Ruby is trapped in the thing and about to be sent to a parallel dimension where the creatures will just kill her immediately. And this guy's Rogue is saying, like, can you let your friend die in order to save the world? And he's like, no. And then Rogue is like, yeah, sorry, there's a wasp next to my window. Rogue is like, I know. And then they kiss. What? Okay, this is more appropriate now, with him using that to distract the Doctor to take the detonator off him in order to sacrifice himself and save Ruby. I still don't think it is appropriate for the Doctor to kiss back, if you know what I mean. Like, if he just received it, it would have been fine, but the fact that it was mutual, nah, that doesn't really make sense.